Hey everyone, I'm your host, Courtney Massey.
And I'm your host, Valerie David, and this is the night session.
We're back after quite a long hiatus for us.
Yes.
Was it our longest hiatus that we've had?
I don't think so.
Probably not. We've had longer.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We we've
I've been
so
calling it the post USO hangover. That's what.
yes, we have a hangover. I haven't slept. I've been partying with Stan Wawrinka
There
for
you
two
go.
weeks. That's the spin I'm gonna put on it.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's the way to sell it.
yeah. That's the way to sell it. So we're gonna have a lot of Stan Wawrinka in this podcast.
Yes, we are.
Um, so if you're not a Stan fan,
Too bad.
yeah, yeah,
Fuck it, haters.
yeah, you're gonna not like this show. I'm just gonna tell you now. So we're just gonna get right into it because we have so much to say.
That's right.
So we're gonna start with Stan and Angie, your U.S. Open winners. I almost said finalists, but then I'm like, that doesn't
Well, also
champion.
accurate, but they did even
Well,
better than
it
that.
didn't. Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, I almost said finalists, and I'm like, that's downgrading them, isn't it? Sorry.
So this is my epic slam. I am like thrilled. I'm
Yes.
not sure when I have been this happy with a slam result. I mean, Wimbledon I didn't even watch the men's final. So
Who was the men's final Wimbledon? Because I can't remember anything
it
past.
was Murray, probably Djokovic. Honestly,
Oh
I
yeah,
just
that's
gave
a
up.
safe bet. That's a safe bet.
Yeah.
Like I probably Djokovic is in the final, right?
I kept saying Murray had 2 slams, and people are like, he has 3, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't watch it, so I
Oh
don't
yeah, he.
remember.
Oh my god, he has three. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, he has
I know.
3.
I think he has two too. That's
Yeah,
funny. We are serious tennis journalists.
no.
We are. It's funny because we usually call this our street cred segment to show
Yes.
off that we actually know more than just their asses. And I don't know if we're really selling ourselves to start the show.
Well, my thing is always that I try to put things in the way that regular fans do. That's, when for my website and things like that. The stuff that I cover is how fans actually watch tennis, not journalists. And I
Yeah.
mean, there are Fed fans right now that haven't watched tennis for months. So,
Hmm.
it's just they've given up on tennis. So I try not to be that bad, but there are some matches where it's like you just can't pay me to watch that. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
just
We,
not
we
for me.
I don't know if we're going to talk about this later or not, but a good example of that would be the Djokovic Monfils match.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if we had plans to talk about that later on.
I think it'll come up, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I,
That was atrocious.
yeah, yeah.
Ugh,
But this
that might be worse than the Stan Goffin match earlier this year.
oh, I
That
think I've blocked it
infuriated
out.
me.
Oh, it
But
was
yeah,
insane.
where like Goffin was winning, then Stan was winning. It just kept going
Yes,
back
the
and forth,
seesaw.
and it was like gigantic margins between them. And it was and like no one can close it out, I think, and I think I just got mad and I just started swearing. And I never do that. And yeah, so I think I think aside from the Djokovic Monfils match, I don't think there was too much of that these last 2 weeks at the US Open.
No, there was like some crazy things and some upsets and stuff like that. But the thing we had 2 good finals, and
Yes.
especially for a women's final, that was spectacular. It was actually a 3-set final. It was like woo!
I think the women's matches this year have been so much better than the men,
Yes,
in my opinion.
I would agree with that. The men have had some highlights, but in
Yeah.
general, it's usually like, wow, I really enjoyed watching the women more in this tournament,
Hmm.
and it's like you end up saying that a lot.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so I'm excited. I like both these players, and I think it's also kind of cool because they have some similarities. They're both players that were very good for, a long time, but never quite made it to that next level, and
Hmm.
kind of had like attitude issues and focus things and weren't consistent. But, they were strong and talented, and they like put the extra work in and got themselves to that slam winning level, and they're like the poster children for don't give up. It's like it because there's always that thing like, well, you're 25 and you haven't done it yet, so your career's over.
Yeah.
So they've kind of proved that it's like, the effort can pay off if you just keep at it. You could get there. And I love the both of them, and they both are sarcastic players on the court. When things aren't going well, that always makes me laugh. It's like they're not really laughing, but I find it amusing.
Laughing at their pain.
Exactly.
At the pain.
At the pain.
That's a little inside joke between us.
That's right. It's German.
It's a German inside joke. Oh, those Germans.
Oh, those Germans. Which not too, by the way, because I think Stanley has some German stuff. He's got Polish, Czech. There's probably some German in there too.
Very white.
And Curbs is Polish too. So these are my people.
Can I? Your white people.
My white people.
I have a question that I just noticed because I just paid attention just now. Why is the women's trophy so much smaller?
I hate that.
Not to say like my penis is bigger than your penis type of thing, but like why is it so small?
It's true of I think all the tournaments. And
why?
but I think this one's in particular because the trophies look so similar, and then it's just like maybe because they think women are smaller, so they don't want the women holding a giant trophy or something. I don't know. I'm sure there's some sexist reason for it. It's just like the men's singles trophy is the biggest, and then the women's, and then the doubles people usually get these little miniature trophies.
I know. I always feel bad for that. I always think they should be the same.
Yeah, why not?
All the winners should be the same. And I don't know, not to be like a feminist killjoy, like how dare they make the women's trophy smaller. But when you see them side by side, it is a little funny.
Yeah, because it kind of looks, and I mean, with the two of them, it's proportional, so I guess that would be the argument for it. But it's still, you're kind of looking at it going, oh, the men's trophy is more important. Just like you said, my penis is bigger than
Yeah,
yours.
like I don't mean to bring out a cockfight, but put the trophies on the table.
Well, the Wimbledon, they don't even get a trophy. The women get the dish.
I know.
They got to make some salad after they win the trophy.
Get a plate to serve men's sandwiches on.
Yeah.
Like, my accomplishments mean nothing. Here is your sandwich.
You go.
Okay, it's getting late at night. I'm gonna get weird.
Oh, yeah, so we should probably move on since we have so many things. But I just wanted to squeeze. This is Angie skipping with her trophy, which I love. Angie's one of those people that she's so very serious on the court, and like I said, and when things go wrong, she's like kind of bitterly sarcastic, and she's kind of toned that down a little bit, in her self-improvement stage. But off the court, she's so bubbly and sweet and excited, and it's just made this win even better because she's like not jaded at all. It's not like, oh, this is my 700th title, who gives a crap, let me stuff this trophy into my luggage. It's like she's hugging the trophy and skipping. It's like, this is my kind of winner.
Yeah. All she needs is Annie Murray's hula hoop.
There you go.
That's what it needs.
And like a little umbrella, because that would be the theme of this year.
Oh, yes. That is the best thing you've ever said on this one. Because that's so great. That's so great. It so sums up this rain-tastic shit year.
Yes. And the year isn't even over. But we're going into indoor, so hopefully it's not gonna.
I mean, the roof might collapse and then rain comes in, but
it's gonna be like a power outage in Basel or something. There's gonna still have to be some surprises yet to come.
Oh gosh, yeah. You never know.
But guess we can move on to the...
I haven't skipped in a really long time. I just thought I should let everybody know.
Everyone should do it once in a while.
I know.
So this is part of my Serena/WTA rant.
Oh.
So everybody strap yourselves in.
Put seatbelts on your ears.
I'm going to make people mad who are already mad at me. No.
I'm probably going to make Novak fans mad at me later. So it's fine. Go on.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
And we actually didn't talk about that in the run-through, about why you were mad at him. Do you know where you're going to talk about that?
Yeah, there's some
Okay.
Novak stuff later on. I'll slip it in. I will slip that in like a dude in your DMs. You started laughing before I did my joke.
Oh, because I was anticipating it.
I know. Like, you started laughing before. Like, I don't know if anyone heard my punchline because you're like cracking up. I'm like, don't beat the joke, Valerie. Okay, go on with your rant.
So sorry. It's a two-part rant.
Okay.
One of my things is that in all the talking about grunting that the commentators do, that they beat up on Sharapova and Azarenka and whomever else, they very rarely say anything about the fact that Serena starts screaming on every shot when she starts to get in trouble. And this was one of the tweets that I finally saw something about it, because when she was playing Pliskova, things were kind of getting tense, and she just starts bashing on the ball and screaming as loud as she can. And it was the perfect thing because Pliskova is kind of a little bit like a robot. And so it was like it had zero effect on her. It's like usually, it's like it's very hard to not react to that. Like even if you're a calm person or whatever, if someone is at the net screaming and hitting a 90-mile-an-hour ball at your head, it's gonna disorient you or make you miss a shot or whatever. And Serena, usually when she does that and hits like a down the line shot, screaming, and she assumes it's a winner. And with Pliskova would just knock that shit right back. And so it was like, oh! It was like, holy crap, this is not part of the plan. So I just personally found that awesome, because it's like it gets so frustrating watching something that upsets you and it works. So it was kind of, it's just like certain gamesmanship things, and it's, like MTOs, which we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
So this was one of my personal things. So it was so cool that Pliskova was just so cool and calm. And that was part of like a bigger thing that I've talked about this in some of the previous podcasts, that I've been kind of pissed off at WTA about, that Serena was just winning everything, and everybody below was pretty much just like, well, I'm gonna try my best, I'm just gonna go out and have fun, I hope I'll get 2 games. And then at this start of this US Open, it's like Serena comes out, she's wearing freaking opera gloves, she's got millions of dollars worth of jewelry on, and 2-inch long professionally done nails. And I'm going, how hard is she having to work if she could come out like this?
So are you saying that you wish that WTA had a little bit of that Tomic, like, oh, she's still winning?
Yes. Yes.
Attitude in their press conferences?
Yeah, honestly, we need somebody with a little more like, well, yeah, I can go out and do something, And so, and I said it was just so frustrating to me, because it's like, I said I was waiting for Serena to like bring a chair out and just sit down and play her matches. It's like, this is getting ridiculous. And so I was so happy that Halep, who is one of those people that everyone's been waiting for her to do something amazing, and I keep waiting for that to happen. I mean, she's had some good matches, she's a good player, but when she gets to these Serena matches, it's like, oh, and I'm just gonna fall apart now. Well, she played her ass off in the match. And Serena's coach did say that he thinks that Serena got injured in that match. And it was because Simona was they were running each other all over the whole court. I mean, it was unbelievably intense. And so it was nice to see Hollop and Pliskova step up, and Kerber has in the past, where it's like, this is your job. You're supposed to be a competitive person. I can't understand that there'd ever be an attitude of, well, I can just never win. Oh, well. I'll just be number 5 or 20 or whatever and be happy. It's like, I'm not a super competitive person. That's why I didn't go into sports as a career. So it seems odd to me that people would choose that as a career and then just go,
Well, that's why a lot of people got on Sam Querrey's case, and we've talked about it on this webcast, where he was just like, I'm never going to be at the top,
Right.
And then everybody was just like, well, why the hell are you here then?
Yeah.
Just
And I mean, it's like, I don't think you should have to like kill yourself if, because you lost a match or something. I don't believe in being extreme, but just to have an attitude of, I'm not even going to try. This person's always going to humiliate me every time we go on court. No, well.
Yeah. Like, have a belief that you could win.
Right.
And it's fine if you go, look, if you go out there and say, I can win this match, and then you don't win and just have kind of a positive outlook of like, well, it's Serena and she played amazing.
Right.
And I have to just work hard and be better next time,
right.
But to kind of just before it even starts, be like, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then fans are like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, yeah, and especially when you're, because it's like if the person's ranked 225, well, obviously you're going to be realistic. But if you're
We're not talking about like Marcus Willis.
We're not talking about Marcus Willis, who still went out there and played his ass off. I mean, he didn't just give up, he actually, I mean, it's like increments. You're like, if you're at that kind of ranking, it's like, okay, I got a game. I made him have to lunge for a shot and he missed it. It's like those are the kind of things you're going for. But if you're in the top 5, I think you should think you can win. So it's been kind of upsetting to me, and I think Pliskova actually had said that when Angie beat her, so some of us started to think, well, maybe I can too, and it's like, well, why weren't you thinking that? But it seems like there's maybe been some changes where maybe there's a few players who aren't just going out there and beating themselves before they even get on the court. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to see that, and I said, and then the final between Pliskova and Kerber was amazing. You didn't know who was going to win. No, it wasn't that feeling of dreaded inevitability.
Not at all.
So much more exciting. Mm-hmm. So that was my little rant.
It wasn't as harsh as you've been in the past.
No, you all suck. No,
And Stan hoisting the trophy.
I love this
with
so
gusto.
Much. I love this because Stan has got to be one of the most low-key celebrators of a slam win. He's like the only person that doesn't fall on the ground. And he had like the first time when he won the Australian Open, Rafa was injured. And then when he won the French, so he felt like he shouldn't like overly celebrate. Plus he was overwhelmed and all that. Then when he won the French Open, he was very close to Djokovic, and he knew how important it was for Djokovic to win the French Open. So out of respect, he kind of didn't, put on a big showy celebration. So it was kind of like finally like this one, it was like, we got this. He finally was like, I won.
Has anyone put the Lion King music behind them?
That would be hilarious.
Sorry. I just like, as soon as I saw this, I immediately played that song in my head. And I was like, if somebody wanted to put that behind it, I mean, I would be on board.
I'm surprised he didn't put that on his Snapchat with, a lion head over it or something.
I do. I should join Snapchat just for Stan. But everybody puts his stuff on Twitter anyway.
Yes, I'm grateful to them so I don't have to torture myself with it.
I downloaded Snapchat so long ago and I didn't know how to work it, so then I deleted it.
Yeah, it's just insane. And it's like most of the time you're like, okay, anybody over 18 feels like a moron when it comes to Snapchat, but it's like even 18-year-olds have said it's, it's insane. It's one of
I know
those things
some people
where
love it. I mean, I don't mind like the different filters, especially like if I'm bored. But like I it was never something where I'm like, I have to get on Instagram. But I don't know, maybe I would if I had more than a couple friends to Snapchat to.
well,
Oh,
it's one of
yeah.
those things where it's saying if you're on a couple social media accounts, every time they come up with something new, it's like I don't want to have to start all over again and trying to get people to follow you and follow me over now on Snapchat, and it's like, oh, just fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm here on Twitter. If you don't like it, whatever.
Yeah, but tennis players do make me want to join. I will admit that.
Yeah. Well, and
Especially Stan.
and someone told I was Katie on Twitter said that she follows a lot of athletes who just post a lot of shirtless pictures on Snapchat, and I'm like, well, now that I could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
interested
They
in.
they seem to be a little bit more playful on Snapchat
Yeah.
than Twitter and Facebook and even Instagram. So I do think Snapchat has its benefits, but I haven't jumped on it yet.
Yeah.
But Stan is making me want to jump on it.
We'll get to that more on that later.
Yeah. Okay. So now for the we talked about his body a little bit. Now for the mind.
Now for the mind. This thing blew me away because I've always loved this about Stan, the head point thing. He started this with Magnus, and it, this has always been the criticism of Stan that he can't get his head in order to win, and that's something that he's worked on with Magnus. And so it's like when he's worked his way through a tough match, he points at his head towards Magnus, like, "See, I listened, I focused, and it's just this kind of like this little thing between them. For some reason, during this US Open, I guess maybe because he was doing it a little bit more often, it's just like a reflexive thing that he does. Like other people fist pump, now he kind of points at his head. People were like being super critical of it and putting all these mocking tweets and all this kind of stuff and interpreting it as him saying he was a genius. I'm number one. I'm way better than you. It's just like they were they were reading so much into it.
First of all, Stan isn't even the first one to do it. I remember way back in the early 2000s when Brad Gilbert was coaching Andy Roddick. A lot of times during the match, he would point to his head,
Right.
saying, you know, keep your head in it, keep your head in it, keep calm, stay with it, stay focused. And to the point where I used to do that with my grandmother. Like me and her used to have like this code thing where we would point to our head. I don't even know why. But like I can't remember. It was so long ago, but I think there was like a point to it. But and so he's not the first one to even do that. But
Right.
people are gonna, because Stan's doing well
Yes.
and beating their favorite players or whatever, because he is kind of an underdog, surprisingly.
Yet still.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that would kind of change, but he's still the underdog, and
Yes.
people are going to just be people, which we'll talk about later on.
Yes.
I
But
will rant about that, or I
yeah,
could now actually, but
whatever you want to do.
well, since we're talking about people doing stupid shit about Stan, I have a thing with Novak fans. And look, I'm a fan of Novak. I don't have a problem with Novak fans. I'm one of them. I don't have a problem with fan bases in general usually. But after Stan won, Novak fans started retweeting old tweets from Stan's girlfriend Donna, which we'll see later on.
Yeah.
Uh, tweets that Donna said years ago supporting Novak in his matches. Now, here's the thing. I didn't quite understand their motives
Yeah.
because it just felt very childish and
Yes.
stupid. and I apologize if any of you on here were a part of that, but it just seemed very, very immature and unnecessary because it felt like they were trying to stick it to Stan. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look, your girlfriend is supporting Novak in 2011. What? Like, and it seems so irrelevant. It was irrelevant. There was no
Right.
point to it. It just seemed catty and childish and immature and ridiculous. And I've never been so mad. And I was so mad. It infuriated me, and I didn't expect it to, but I just remember going, what the hell? Like, I know Novak fans get a lot of crap, some of it completely unjustified, but that was justified to give you crap now because I just felt like that was shitty and that was low and just irrelevant. It's not even low because it's not relevant.
Yeah,
You can't even, but I just felt like they were, you know how Nick Kyrgios was trying to get under Stan's skin?
well, that's what I was just gonna say. It's the same. It's like on the same order. Like, let's drag the girlfriend in it,
Yeah,
and
and
make
it's just
her
like,
look bad.
yeah, like, oh, Coconut has banged your girl, mate. Like, and so they're trying to say, oh, Stan, look, she supported Novak in 2013. What do you have to say about that? First of all, there are tons of tennis players that support other players. Just
Yeah.
because she's dating one doesn't mean she can't be a fan and respect other players.
Right.
Also, some of those tweets, I don't even think she was dating Stan at the time.
No.
So all of it was completely irrelevant, and I was so angry about it.
Yes, and Stan and Ole are friends, so it's not
Yes.
even like they're like total arch enemies
No,
or
not at
something. So
all.
it's like she could still be supporting Ole now, and it wouldn't mean jack shit. I mean,
Yes. And I'm sure she would have tweeted support for Novak if he would have won.
right.
Like, wow, he's world number one. A lot of these players have respect for him. And it's just so weird. It was so weird. And I remember I just got so furious. Like, what is your fucking point? You childish buffoons. I'm sorry. I've never been so mad at a fandom as I was just then because it did, like I said, it had that, like, oh, Coconut has banged your girl, mate. Like,
Yeah.
why are you taking it that way? Like, I just don't understand why people get so butthurt when their favorite player who's world number one and has a buttload of Grand Slams lose one damn match and
Yes.
everyone's like, well, fuck that guy. It's like,
Right.
no, he played fair. He won.
Right.
And I can understand if he was being shady in that match and did something that was unfair and won, which we'll talk about later.
Yes.
But he didn't. He played fair. He won. Get the fuck over it. And that's not just for Novak fans. That is all tennis fans everywhere. I don't care who you are. I don't care what player it is. If your player loses fair and square, get over it. I'm an Ernest Gulbis fan. Do you know how many times Ernest has lost his matches?
Yes.
How much hate in my heart would I have to have if I got that upset every time he lost? And I used to get really upset when he lost. And I used to get emotional and weepy and like, oh, because, I was very young and, you get emotionally invested and you want them to succeed. But at some point, you got to grow up a little bit.
Yes.
And I did. So
See, that's a lot of Fed fans still hate Stan and won't support him because he had the nerve to beat Roger once, twice, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
how dare you? How dare you say that? How dare you beat my favorite player? And like people were getting mad at like your guy for beating Rafa and hating him. And I didn't want to say I was like, what do you call him?
Pookie.
Yeah, I forgot that, and that's why I paused. I was like, she calls him something, Pulley, and then I thought of Pulley like the dog, a pulley. And I go, all right. But anyway, I'm saying that to all tennis fans. I'm not just calling out Novak fans, so I don't want to get Novak fans being like, how dare you? It's for all fans that we need to kind of tone it down just a little bit.
Yes.
You can be sad for your player, and I know fans get hate from other fans, but it's like a turf war.
Yeah.
But there's some level where you're just like, all right, you're asking for it.
Yeah.
So that was my rant.
Okay. I wholeheartedly agree.
We all had you had a rant, I had a rant. We're probably going to have more rants.
I was going to say there's probably more because I think it might be a Nole fan might be one of the next tabs. So we can just keep rolling.
No, we're still.
Oh, no,
we're
we're still on Donna.
We're Stan getting a little extra. I love that. I sent this to Valerie. Like, I think it was a gift that I sent her, but I sent her something and I was just like, does he realize he's on camera right now? Like, he's celebrating a little early.
Yes. Which, when I saw this, and a lot of people have a problem with him dating Donna for many reasons. Age,
Whatever,
the divorce,
they're stupid.
whatever.
They're stupid. They're wrong. They're adorable and I love them and I ship them like the hardest I've ever shipped.
It's
anyway,
like you see this and it was like, he's happy. You know, it's like, and he wasn't happy for a long time. You could just tell. And so it's like, so maybe you don't approve, maybe there's things about it you don't like, whatever. But, you know, I have some discomfort sometimes with it, like him scheduling playing St. Petersburg to go along with her futures tournament that she's playing. You know, some things it's just like, really? But it's like, you see this and it's like, you know what? He's happy. He's doing well. They really seem to like each other. Why shit all over that? There are so many other things in the world to worry about. This doesn't seem to be one of them. And
they've been together for a while.
Yeah, they have now.
So it's not like a 3-month fling. I mean, they've been together for a very long time, and they seem to genuinely enjoy each other and bust each other's balls and playful and they're very cute together, and I love them. And I think this picture is so cute, and they're happy and
And it's like, this is the kind of thing that I do to my husband in public because it's like a natural, you know, thing that you're used to doing. And then sometimes you're like, oh shit, I'm with my grandparents, or, you know, it's kind of like, you know, in this case, you're on camera, millions of people are watching you, but it's just like, it's a comfort level, you know, and I said, I thought this picture's actually beautiful, so.
It is. It's very beautiful. And I mean, I joked about his hand placement, but that also could just be the angle of,
well, I mean, it's not like he's totally grabbing a handful.
No, he's not. I think it was just, but it's just funny. It's just a funny shot. But they're so cute. I love them. And like their relationship made me like Stan even more. I've talked about this. So it's just amazing that people hate on them, but people hate on everything.
Yeah. And it's a lot of times it's just whatever is in their personal life that it doesn't agree with, or their their like fantasy image of something that gets disturbed, or it's like a lot of times it's just there's all kinds of different reasons, and it's just like I just can't deal, you know. And it's like, you know, we can make fun of and, you know, give our opinions and things like that, but some people take it so far where it's like, it's a stranger, why do you care so much?
I know. Okay, so
moving on.
Speaking of hugging,
his
arms around a different trophy.
So cute, and his little red nose. But yes, Stan did all these like insane emojis and stuff, and he ends it with, he's got all the champagne, and then he's got a bear and a panda bear, and then a kissy face.
And is that him and Donna?
Well, previously it seems to have been established that Stan is the panda.
Yeah, so she's the bear.
So it's like, well, she's the bear. But then Stan tweeted another picture of him, Donna, and Magnus, and he used the bear, the panda bear, and the blonde girl emoji.
So he's kissing Magnus.
That's right. I was like, and then I'm like, they're two bears kissing, which, you know, some of our male listeners may appreciate.
Understand the bear reference.
That's right. Then Magnus is a bear. But however, then when I looked on Donna's Twitter feed, this is the panda and the bear emoji kissing thing. So maybe she is the bear. Maybe she's a beard and she loves that the two bears are together. I don't know.
That's funny. It's funny they're so inconsistent. Yet he's always the panda.
Yes, that
they
seems
can
to be
agree
the one.
Upon that.
Yes, but the bear thing is, and it's kind of like a slightly interspecies relationship. Is a panda bear really a bear? I don't. Our listeners can tell us about that.
I would say it is. I should know because I love pandas. I know. Well, my favorite animal is the red panda, and those aren't really pandas and bears.
There you go.
So, but I don't know about panda bears and regular bears.
And it's like we're probably reading way too much into this.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I love how it's like I feel like we're high right now. Like late at night, high on. Can two bears like become one? Like, can a bear be like with another bear, but is that bear really a bear? Like, I do feel like we just ate like a pan of pot brownies. I kind of want to do that. Is that weird? Like, I've never gotten high. I've never smoked weed. But I do kind of think we should eat pot brownies and analyze emojis that tennis players use.
But it's like, I don't think we need it. We're already there.
I know, but I think that would be an interesting show. It would take it up a notch.
And it would probably be 16 hours long.
Yes. And I'm sure there's some weird stoner tennis fan that would watch it all.
While eating Doritos.
Yes. God, I love Doritos.
So do I. I like Cheetos too.
Yes. All the chips. We'll just have like all these chips. I love chips. That's like my favorite junk food. So I have salt and vinegar chips next to me.
I don't know. This seemed more entertaining when I first thought of it. It's like, then when I start talking about it, I'm like, it's like, I like read way too much into this.
I just love how you kind of just lost it right now, and you can hear it. Of you like losing your shit. This is gonna be a good episode, you guys. We're gonna go nuts at this point.
Oh my
We're gonna
god!
get to a point where I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah.
So you guys have to hang in there because I'm gonna lose it hard at one point.
Oh, so we can move on from this.
Okay, so here's some philosophy, man.
Here's some heavy, just like totally heavy thinking, man. So Stan has been super chatty around this US Open. I was commenting on this before about that Stan's English has gotten amazing, and probably from being with Donna and also Magnus. I think they speak in English to each other as well. So he's been telling all kinds of stuff in his interviews. And about the final, he said, you go to the edge of your limits, and then suddenly you go from being exhausted to, in a flash, being practically happy to suffer. You feel good, despite the fact that you want to die.
It's so dramatic. It's adorable.
It's amazing. But I have a professional dancer on my timeline that he says, this is something that dancers feel a lot of times when you're at like super critical mass of pain. You kind of end up going into some kind of a euphoria. Mm-hmm. And I was talking with some people on Twitter about this, and they were thinking that this was sort of maybe his whole philosophy of tennis. And I think that was just about this particular match, because he had said that was his most physically difficult match that he had played. And he came into this tournament, to me, not at 100%. I was not planning on him to win it. And then his matches were all quite difficult. He almost went out to Dan Evans. He played 5 sets. I believe he faced a match point. And his back hasn't been quite right and all that kind of stuff. So when he was in this final, you could tell he started cramping during it, and he just, had a long 2 weeks of tough matches. So I think he got to this other plane kind of, because he stuck with it. We wore out Nole, which not many players have been able to do. So that was pretty, and especially because he did the same thing. That this is what all the commentators were talking about. This was so amazing to actually hear commentators talking that were impressed by Stan. They kept saying that he wore down Delpo and then Nishikori and Djokovic. It's like that's why he's kind of this like slam. He shines in the slams because he can hang in those 5 sets, and he just keeps on.
Mhm.
He's like the Energizer Bunny.
I think
He
you've
just
said that
keeps going.
before.
Well, I was thinking right before we started the podcast that we probably should have had that um slide from when we did the podcast with his nude photo shoot
Oh yeah, your
go
art
for
one.
hours and hours.
Oh no, that one. I think I meant the art one that you did. To
Yeah,
have
no.
one
The one where
segment.
you found the quote where he
No.
said, I can go for hours and hours.
Yes, and we were talking about his stamina. Yeah.
Yes, his stamina.
I remember that. That's a good episode. You should go back and listen to us talk about Stan's stamina.
Absolutely.
Um, Stanimal is maybe Stan and animalistic stanima.
That's right.
What? Okay.
What? So, but I thought this sounded so much like Rafa because Rafa talks about suffering all the time.
Yeah, that does sound like Rafa. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
noticed that if you didn't point that out. But you're right.
Yeah.
He does talk that kind of
Yeah.
dramatic.
And he started, because Stan will always tell you he practices with like the top players because he wants to learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was practicing with Rafa a lot, he started talking about suffering a lot more. And I'm like, oh my God, Rafa's brainwashed him.
Is Rafa like the emo one on tour?
I think so.
Like, my suffering and you, the joy of suffering and like emo songs and notepads and poems. But also speaking, because you said he was a lot chattier this U.S. Open.
Yes.
There has been a lot of talk about pre-match interviews.
Yeah.
And I tweeted this and nobody paid attention to it, but I'm going to say it again because I think it's true. I think Stan was the best at the pre-match interview because everybody else like wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And like Stan gave like a fairly long, detailed like answer. He didn't seem annoyed. He seemed calm. And I was like, he's the only one that did that correctly.
Yeah, he's the only person that's not they're always afraid like if I say something my opponent's going to pick up on it and so they just give the same thing like I'm just going to play my game and whatever the horrible generic responses are. And Stan was like, no, I know he's going to run me around, so I'm going to have to do this and that. And it's like, holy shit, he's actually giving an answer.
Yeah, no, it was funny because I was watching it and everybody was debating about that like all day long. And then all of a sudden Stan popped up and he's just like, it's like a press conference.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they're very short and they're like,
Yes.
like, I'm just going to play my game. And like, staring off somewhere else. And like Stan was like engaged and like gave this like big freaking answer. So that's funny that you mentioned that because it is. He's very, very chatty and friendly and just.
Yeah, and that was one of the funniest moments from when they had him at the ESPN desk. And it was after he won the semifinal and got into the final. And he was actually, the funny thing was he was yelling. So I could tell he'd been on Arthur Ashe because he was yelling all of his answers. And Chris Everett goes, "You seem really pumped up." She's like, "What's the reason for that?" He looked at her and he's like, "I got into the final. I'm excited."
Oh, that's so cute. I missed that.
Yeah, it was adorable because she gave, and apparently he said they're friends, so that's why she can kind of bust his balls a little bit because she was giving him this look like, "What are you on?" Just like it was like, "I'm excited," and it's like you don't get to see that from Stan that often. He's so low key a lot of times, and I'm not that great. I'm not, whatever, and it's like he was just like bouncing off the walls. It was hilarious.
He's so funny. Like he's so like last time he was catching grapes through a car window. Like he just does these weird things and it's just he's adorable. I want him to be my friend.
Yes, he's adorably weird.
He is. I love that.
I know.
I love him now. You ruined me for life, Valerie. I was happily not in love with him for the longest time.
I have people tell me that all the time. They're like, I used to hate him, and now you're
I know.
sucked me in.
I know. I used to. I don't want to say I hate Stan because I never really hated him. I just didn't like him. Like there was nothing about him that interests me. And now I'm like, I want to like live on a farm with alpacas with you.
Alpacas, that's right. The alpaca dream.
Yeah, I just want alpacas and just live with you forever.
Well, isn't that what we said? He's erotically weird. Isn't that what we came
Yeah.
up with? Something like that.
And I said that's my type. Yeah.
Yes.
That's my type of dude right there. So yeah.
Yes.
So we're not done with Stan yet. So strap
Okay.
in.
Oh, baby.
And Party Stan, which is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Like I don't know if Stan fits in the party world. Like it just looks so weird. Him flailing around like he's in a car dealership and one of those balloon men.
Well, this is what's funny. I learned a little tidbit about Stan and Switzerland when I was in Cincinnati.
Oh.
I was told that because we were talking about how they never liked him in Basel. It was like they're only there for Federer, and they're just super snobbish about it, and they've always given Stan the cold shoulder. And I just thought part of it was always that he's the French Swiss, not Swiss German. So there is some of that going on. But apparently Stan is also considered a bad boy.
Really? See,
Because he goes out like like he's gone out drinking and stuff like this, and is like, so they consider him like he's the bad, like the bad boy of Switzerland. Which is in comparison to say Johnny Depp or something, it's like there's levels.
I love how you went from Stan to Johnny Depp. That's hilarious. But yeah, I get your point, and it's weird. It's just weird to see Stan party. I don't know why it's weird. I think it's weird to see tennis players party.
Yeah.
Like them like dancing on top like bars. Like I know there's a lot of like French player photos of them at bars and clubs and like dancing.
The Spaniards too.
Bernard Tomic on a lap dance.
Yeah.
And like you're just looking at these things going, it's so weird. Like, look at his mouth open. He looks like a fish. Like, what are you doing? But I love it because I love that he's having fun and whatever. But I'm just like, what is that on fire? Like, what has happened? Where is this? Like, here's the thing. I don't party. I don't go to clubs. So I'm like, what is happening? Where is this located?
This is Stan is drunk. That's pretty much what this is about.
Well, obviously.
Because that's his thing, is that he actually has said that he doesn't do this often. He doesn't, he's not going out every night. But he said when he does celebrate, he goes all the way.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of when they won Davis Cup, oh my God, he was so drunk. And he's such a cute drunk. It's like some people get all belligerent and turn into assholes. He just gets all adorable. He just looks
like a buffoon. I love
it. He gets all affectionate and spoopy and stuff. It's so amazing.
I like that. I don't like the aggressive drunks.
No.
But if you're like, I love you, man, drunk, I'm okay with that.
Yes.
And I mean, if you wanted to dance up on me, I'm okay with that.
Yes.
No offense, Donna. I mean, I wouldn't do anything because he's with Donna. But I'm just saying, under different circumstances. I'm trying to be like a nice person. And
Fuck you, Donna.
Get up on me, Stan, right now. Taking advantage of drunk, sappy Stan.
That's right. I'm gonna get him in a dark corner.
It looks like there's plenty of dark corners over there.
I know, it's all dark corners.
Is Donna with him? First of all, how old is she? She's 21 yet?
No, she isn't. She's 20.
So she can't even get into this.
Well, it all depends, I guess. Depends on who you know.
I guess so, but normally you can't get in there. Oh, well, I think sometimes you can get in, but just not drink.
Yeah.
It just
Depends on
depends
the
on the
place.
place. Yeah. But I just thought, look at him going out getting drunk. Poor Donna sitting at home with a juice box. Like, a yoo-hoo. See, me and Donna can hang out because I don't drink and she's legally not allowed to. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, moving on.
This was the greatest, and I